Do I think this cushion is worth it? I first have to let you guys know on these 3 tips on how to properly use a cushion foundation. So if you know the proper way to use a cushion foundations, this may be your #1 go-to base product versus if you don't, you may have the worst experience ever. And the is very immaculate. That is one of the things that I do really like about this product. Hey guys, it's Welcome back to my channel where we talk about all hacks and tips related to having that healthy skin, mind and body. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Press subscribe, join the fam. I am your go-to gal to help you navigate this confusing and overwhelming but exciting and fun and helpful world of beauty, skincare, K-beauty, you name it. With my 10 years, years of experience in this industry. Alright, for today's video, we are going to take a microscopic look at the very much viral Tirtir red cushion. This is their mask fit red cushion, and yes, they have literally shaken up this industry with their release of these amazing variety of shades, which I'm really happy about. And so finally people are starting to show interest in this amazing world of K-beauty cushion foundations, which I think is great because cushions are honestly the best. As a matter of fact, in Korea, I feel like more people actually use cushion foundations than they use foundations or base products themselves. Now, for those who have no idea what cushion foundations are, let me first explain what they are. These cushions foundations are basically these portable, compact base products, and inside you'll find not only a mirror, but a puff to blend out the cushion or the base product, and a sponge pre-drenched with the formulations. And with the formulations, you can find diverse, various types from sheer glowy to a sleek, chic matte to semi-matte to really thin formulations to thick formulations. And these cushions, they come in all different sizes, designs, and shapes. So it's really fun to try out new ones. And because they're so convenient to use, that's why so many Koreans love using these. Now, before we begin and delve into the actual review of this cushion, I first have to let you guys know on these 3 tips on how to properly use a cushion foundations, because especially with thicker formulations with Tirtir, it really depends on how you use it. So if you know the proper way to use a cushion foundations, you may fall in love with them. This may be your #1 go-to base product versus if you don't know and you just dive in without really knowing anything, you may have the worst experience ever. The first tip is be gentle and don't go overboard. Now, what I mean by gentle is when you make that first dab into the sponge with your puff, please be as gentle as, I don't know, pressing onto a baby's bottom or something. That sounded weird, but anyways, just be gentle, especially on your first try, on your first go, because the puff will soak up and pick up a lot of product. As a matter of fact, that one gentle dab will be enough to cover up your whole face for that first layer. And then of course, as you use the cushion more and more, you'll need to dab in more and more, of course, because the sponge will have been depleted of the base product itself. Second tip, the prepping of your skin matters so much. This is something that I've repeated, emphasized numerously in my past videos, content, and of course this is not limited to when using a cushion foundation, but this really does help and will make a world of a difference. And there are 3 things to consider when you're prepping up your skin for that base makeup. First, you have to consider the actual nature of the cushion. Is it glowy? Is it matte? Is it dry? Is it shimmery, shiny, splendid? Second, you have to consider what finish of the base makeup you are trying to attain. Do you like that glowy look, or do you want that chic matte look? The third factor to consider is any external things or factors that will have an effect on the finish and the longevity. So I'm talking about the weather, the climate, whether the AC and the heater at your workplace or at your school, whether you sweat a lot. And I always say that because I'm someone who sweats non-period all the time, so I always have to take that into consideration when I'm doing my base makeup, because I do get very shiny. So depending on these factors, you definitely have to switch up and customize your skincare or base prep routine. So just as an example, I'm going to talk about it in detail later, but the Tirtir one does have more of a semi-matte to matte finish, and because it's so dry right now in Korea, I have to do a very thorough job and make sure to hydrate and moisturize my skin properly. And this includes a very extensive skincare routine as well as using a hydrating base primer. So bear that in mind, guys. The third tip that I have is that when you dab in with your puff into the sponge, don't dive in with the corner first. Dab the center of the puff into the cushion, because if you dive in with the corner first, this is going to just look so messy. It is not going to help you evenly spread out the product across your face, and you're going to get very annoyed by the experience. Whereas if you place it at the center, it gives you that immaculate, evenly spread out product, and it's going to make a world of a difference. So it takes a little bit of practice. It's not honestly rocket science. All you have to do is focus the pressure on the center of the puff and just dab it in, and there you go. Now let's really take a microscopic look at this cushion. First, let's talk about the shade, because that is the reason why I'm making this video. I love the fact that they expanded the shade. So the lightest shade you'll get is 10 Seashell, which is very, very bright. And the darkest shade is 55N Espresso. I love that name, Espresso, and it's this beautiful dark shade that you can get. The shade that I'm in, or that I like to use, is 19.5N Mute Ivory. It's a more yellowish hue that looks very natural on my Asian complexion. I do have more of a stronger yellowish undertone to my skin type, so this blends in beautifully. Now let's take a look at the formulation itself. Like I said, the Tirtir cushion is definitely more of a thicker formulation. It's not the thinnest. I don't think it's the most elegant either, but it's very easy to work with. You don't have to be very skilled at it, but you do have to be careful of the amount that you use, because it is thick. So if you're not careful, this is going to look very cakey. So bear that first tip that I told you guys in mind. Be very gentle with that first dab, and you want to place it all over. And you'll notice that because it's a thicker formulation, it does a very good job in filling up your pores, kind of smoothing out your texture problems, which I personally love. And the puff is a very squishy one too, and it's very easy to deal with. There is a very high concentration of the powder pigment or the foundation pigment in this formulation, and so it almost feels kind of like paint-like. So it really does give you that full face, full glam on look, which I know some people absolutely love. Also, this has very high coverage. I do not feel the need to reach out for a concealer, which is something that you can do, but with this, I do not need it. And as a matter of fact, I recently got a laser procedure done at the derm, which meant that I had these bumpy like dots, like marks, and this was sufficient enough to cover everything. Of course, you could still see kind of like the texture part, but I was very happy with how this played on my face. Also, what I absolutely love about this cushion is that you can actually pinpoint conceal with this as well, because this boasts of having a very high coverage. All you have to do is take the puff, kind of use the corners, and just pinpoint conceal wherever you want that extra coverage. And it is perfect. It works really, really well. As for the finish, for me, in general, this does come out to be a more semi-matte formulation. In the winter, it becomes very matte. And so this actually works perfectly for me during the summer times, because that's when it's very humid outside, I'm sweating a lot, so I need something that's a little bit more drying to battle those other factors. During the winter times, I do like something that's a bit more glowy, so this isn't my go-to. And the longevity is very immaculate. That is one of the things that I do really like about this product. Alright guys, this is how the cushion looks like after 8 hours. I know it looks glowy, but my skin is dry AF, okay? But let me tell you guys, nothing went messy, nothing went array, everything is in place, everything is fine. I did not sweat, which is really unlike the norm. My skin is really, really dry right now. I really want to wash it off, but everything is immaculately in place. So I feel like this would be perfect if you have oily skin, because it really mixes in well with your oils, and because it does a very good job in staying in place. It won't really get too messy unless you overdo it with the amount that you put on. But see, Other than that, everything is intact. Love. The initial state of how it looks, it actually continues to look that way for a long period of time, unless of course you've sweated. And even if you sweat, I noticed that this mixes in very nicely with my oil sebums. Alright guys, this is another longevity wear test video, except that this time around I actually sweated a bit today. So you can see it actually leaves a very pretty nice glow. It's once again, it's nothing too sticky, but there's definitely that shine that's a little bit more evident than the other longevity wear test. It has a really good long wear test. It lasts a very long time, and once again, this beautiful glow, the sebum. So even though my skin doesn't turn into like a disco ball, it just leaves a nice gleam on my face, if you will. Now, for the final verdict, do I think this cushion is worth it? Suspense. No, I'm kidding. I actually like this cushion a lot, especially if you like that kind of full face glam on. Yes, I have makeup today. You will definitely like this and enjoy this. I have tried worse cushions, of course, and this is just really easy to work with, and I think that's one of the perks. It's pretty matte though, so please bear that in mind, especially for the colder seasons, but I do definitely think it's worth trying out, especially with the range of diverse shades that we can get with this cushion. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed my review on it, but if you guys want to see more cushion reviews, especially with a lot of brands branching out their shades, let me know in the comments down below and I'll make sure to deliver that for you. Alright guys, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and I'll see you guys in my next. Ciao!